Today I'm going to show you guys how to make your lawns look like a golf course using the mower that you already own. So the first thing you'll notice when you go to any golf course is that they don't use the same type of mower that we use at our houses. They use a special type of mower called a reel mower. And there's a common misconception that if you want a golf course style lawn, that you have to use that type of mower. This is my regular old rotary mower that's probably similar to the mower that you guys already use at your house. And it does a great job at mowing my lawn at fairway golf course heights. And you guys could have these same exact results. It just requires a few adjustments. The first thing you'll notice with golf course grass is that it's mowed super low. So in order to get a similar aesthetic, you're gonna have to drop your mower all the way down to its lowest setting. Now most golf course fairways mow their grass at around 3/4 of an inch. So on this Milwaukee mower right here, that would be all the way down to setting 1. Before you guys just go and drop your mowers down all the way, this is not something that you should do just off the bat. It's something that gradually needs to be done over a few mowing cycles, because the problem is if you drop your mower down all the way and you cut your grass, you're gonna cut into the stems of the grass and it's gonna look brown and frayed. Now when you're mowing your lawn at these heights, you're gonna have to mow it a lot more than you're probably used to. Right now you're probably used to mowing about once a week, but when you drop it down to 1 inch, you're gonna have to mow at least 3 times a week. In order for our grass to remain healthy, we have to follow the 1/3 rule, which means that we can't cut off more than 1/3 of the grass blades at a time. And if you're cutting your grass at 1 inch, once that grass gets to 1.5 inches, it needs to be cut. But adjusting the way you mow is not the only way that you get your lawn to look like a golf course. Arguably, the most important thing you need to do is make sure that it's level. Now you might not realize it at first, but the #1 characteristic of golf courses that give it that special look is that they're flat and smooth. And if you guys want that type of look, then you're gonna have to do the same exact thing. We first need some type of leveling material to actually level our lawn. These are the 2 things I like to use. This first one right here is Miracle-Gro potting mix. Now you could definitely use some soil if you'd like, but the problem that I find with bagged soil from the stores is that they usually contain a lot of debris, not to mention you can introduce weeds to your lawn. The good thing about the potting mix is that it's a semi-sterile or pretty much sterile type of mix, and you have little to no risk of introducing weeds. Now the second thing I like to use is this medium sand right here. You can get this at Home Depot. I have been getting a lot of viewers saying that this is not readily available at their Home Depot. If you guys can't find this stuff, then go ahead and use the play sand. You guys will get good results with that as well. The reason I like the medium sand is that it's not so fine. So if there is any type of rainstorm or something like that, it's less likely to wash away than the play sand. When we mix this stuff up, it's not an exact science. I usually like to go 50-50, but it doesn't have to be perfect in your mixture, as long as we mix both of them together fairly evenly. And don't worry about mixing it up perfect, because as soon as we get it on the lawn and we start leveling, it's naturally going to mix together. And that's it, we're all good. So the next thing we're going to need are a couple tools, and the best part is I guarantee you guys probably already have these in your garage. The first thing is some type of rake. Now I'm using a landscape rake here, but if you just have a regular rake, that's totally fine as well. You can use that too. And the next thing we need is a commercial sized push broom. So if you guys take a look over here at the foot of my Gorilla cart, I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but there's a pretty significant dip over here. We're gonna dump this material right into that dip. Now what we need to do is spread out this material as much as we can with the rake before we grab our push broom to massage it in. And all we're gonna do is go down to our material and try to flatten it out as much as we can to make that low spot higher. And just to show you guys how much pressure I'm putting down on this rake, look at this, just one hand and I'm letting it drag. Literally the rake is doing all the work. I'm not putting any muscle behind it. Now if you guys have a lot of bumps and ruts, it's not going to be as easy as I'm making it look. My lawn is pretty much mostly level already, but I just kind of want you guys to get an idea of how this goes when you first start leveling. But the best part is the more you guys do this, the easier it's going to get. Let's keep smoothing this out. Now look at that. You see how flat that is? Look at that. Perfectly flat. There's no dips underneath the rake, so we're getting closer to our goal here. Now, the push broom is arguably the most important tool that we need. And what this is gonna do, it's gonna massage the dirt and sand down into the grass canopy so the grass could poke out and it can actually get sun, because if the grass doesn't get sun, it's gonna die. Just like with the rake that we used, we don't need to put any pressure on it. We just need to go back and forth and massage that grass through this dirt. And if you guys notice here, the more that I go back and forth, you'll see the grass start poking out of the leveling material more and more. See that? How it's almost disappearing and it's getting into the canopy. And now all of a sudden we start seeing the grass. Just a few more passes and you can hardly tell that we even dumped any material over here. Now this method that I just showed you will work really well if you have a small lawn like me, or if you want to do some spot leveling in your yard. But if you have a lawn that's say over 1,000 total square feet, I would highly recommend that you order your material from a dirt supplier, because in the long run it's going to be much cheaper. We actually did a video last season where we went to a local dirt supplier in our neighborhood and he gave us the ins and outs of ordering leveling material. And the top 3 things you want to be on the lookout for anytime you're ordering leveling material is, number 1, you want to make sure that they screen that material to a fine consistency. And the second thing is you want to make sure that that supplier keeps their material dry at all times underneath awnings, because if they don't, you're going to get a bunch of wet material and it's going to be a nightmare trying to level it out in your yard. And the third thing is you want to make sure that the supplier blends their material together. The last thing you want is then to bring you a bunch of dirt and sand that's not mixed well. Make sure that they have a machine that mixes it, so whenever they deliver it to your house, it's a very even consistency. So now the most important thing is, how much material do you need? If you go to your local Home Depot and you buy bags of sand and soil, you're going to need 50 bags of sand and soil, no matter what ratio it is, and that'll level out 1,000 total square feet. Now if you buy your material from a local supplier, you're going to need 1.5 cubic yards of material per 1,000 square feet, and that'll cover a 1/2 inch, which will level 1,000 total square feet. Now the next thing you need to have a golf course lawn is to fertilize, and fertilize often. And since we're on the topic of golf courses, today we're going to apply a fertilizer that's actually used by some of the top golf courses. This stuff is called Earthworks 822. So this is Earthworks, and you probably haven't seen this fertilizer a lot on YouTube, and the main reason why is because they only used to sell at golf courses and sports fields. So it's not really a very common fertilizer, but I wanted to show it to you guys because it's what the actual golf courses use. And what makes this fertilizer special is that it's a carbon-based fertilizer, and it contains 2 main ingredients: poultry manure and then ammonium sulfate. And if you guys are a huge fan of the channel, then you already know that we're a big fan of ammonium sulfate. Actually, it's our favorite fertilizer of all time. So today we're going to make our first application of fertilizer using this Earthworks, and we're going to apply 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet, which will deliver us right under a 1/2 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So when I first got into lawn care, the number 1 thing I wanted to have was a golf course lawn. So I went down this deep rabbit hole of buying a whole bunch of reel mowers. I've had 5 reel mowers in the past 5 years, and it took me a long time to realize that you don't have to have a reel mower to get a golf course style lawn. And since then, I've only been using my rotary mower, and I got to tell you guys, I couldn't be more happy. And I'm not the only one who jumped ship on reel mowing. My buddy Travis over at Budget Lawns also stopped reel mowing. So I wanted to bring him here on the channel just to share some of his tips to getting a golf course style lawn on a budget.
George, I've been doing this for a handful of years now, and I'm still racking my brain trying to figure out what actually is a golf course lawn. Apparently I have one and didn't even know it. I don't do a fraction of the things these people say you have to do to achieve one. You made some really awesome points, and I want to add 2 simple things to that. First, you gotta have a sharp mower blade. I used to sharpen mine maybe once a season, but this past summer I did every 3 or 4 weeks, and oh, the difference that made. The sharp blade is going to keep your cut much crisper and cleaner than those white-looking frayed edges that a dull mower blade leaves behind. And you can sharpen your blade all yourself. Now, is it going to give you that scissor-like cut that a real mower will? No, but how perfect does it have to be, for crying out loud? If you ask me, a sharp blade on a rotary lawnmower is more than good enough. And this second thing just doesn't get near enough attention. How did a golf course lawn become nothing but this big, huge area of green grass? Where's the talk about landscaping? It's the plants that make the lawn pop, and you got to start thinking about getting some in the ground, whether it be annuals, perennials, shrubs, evergreens, ground covers. They'll add a whole new dynamic to your yard that you never knew existed. Yeah, I know I have a lot of mulch space right now, but eventually in time, these will be garden beds, and I wouldn't be able to achieve my goals without them. I used to reel mow, but the hills and slopes of this lawn didn't make it possible to push a heavy reel mower around it, so I went back to my manual reel mower, and I've since abandoned it and gone nothing but rotary mowing since. When I get out in the lawn, I want it to be simple, carefree, and task-free. Top off the mower with some gasoline, pick up some dog crap, and hit the ground running. I have found that I can achieve everything I want to like that. And I firmly believe you can too. All right, George, that's all I got to say about that. I'll turn it back over to you from here. Appreciate you, man.
All right, Travis, I really appreciate you sharing those tips, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like you're kind of calling us out right now, because one thing we really struggle with in our lawn is landscaping and flowers. Actually, you got me peer pressured all the way here at Home Depot right now taking a look at the flowers. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a pro when it comes to this flower stuff. If any of you guys watching have any recommendations for me, what kind of flowers I should get, annuals, perennials, I'm looking at these azaleas. These seem pretty nice. Let me know in the comments below. And Travis, I appreciate you sharing that with us, because honestly, those are some great tips. And if you're thinking about leveling your lawn, make sure you guys check out this video right here. In this video, I cover 7 common mistakes most beginners make when leveling their lawn and what you could do to avoid them. And with that, this is George from Princess Cut. Peace.